Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Indie Filmmaking, Truth and Reality. I'm your host, Jeff Deverett. Today, I am podcasting from my home studio because, believe it or not, I tested positive for COVID. How crazy is that? I mean, COVID is still a thing, so I couldn't go into the studio because yesterday I wasn't feeling so great, but I did a test, and sure enough, COVID's still a thing. But anyways, today we have a very special guest on the show, and we're going to be talking more about how to navigate the complicated and intriguing world of film festivals. This is a great episode. I'm sure you're going to love it. We'll see you in a minute. If you want to be a successful indie filmmaker, you need to know a lot about not just the production of movies, but the business. We are going to tell you the truth and reality of what really happens in the indie film business. Today we have Sandra Lipski on the show. Welcome, Sandra. Thanks for being on the show. Sandra is coming to us from Mallorca, Spain, which is an island just off the south coast of Spain where she lives. And she is a film festival consultant expert in navigating film festivals, amongst other things. Sandra, I also saw that you were an actress and a filmmaker, and you've done lots of stuff. So why don't you take a minute to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. So my name is Sandra Lipski, and I run a festival Key, and that's where I help film festivals to develop themselves to get better, to grow, to build a new audience, or just start from scratch as well. I've started other festivals and helped them build from zero. But also a really important part of the agency is to help filmmakers navigate the film festival circuit and to really find the right festivals for their films and know when a festival is not right for your film, which can be a difficult learning experience for filmmakers. So that's where I help them.
So I hear you speak very good English, but I also know that you speak fluent German and Spanish, if I'm correct. You're originally from Mallorca?
So I was born in Germany. I grew up here in Mallorca, and then I lived in the States for 24 years. 4 years in New York and then 20 years in LA. And I just moved back to Mallorca now. But I've been in the States for a really long time. So that's where my American accent is from. And yeah, I mean, I'm sort of half American at this point.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now, Mallorca, for those of you, I've never been there, but I know where it is. But it's spelled Mollorca, Mallorca, but it's called Mallorca, right?
Right. So in the Spanish language, a double L is pronounced like a J. So Mallorca.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you also own and run a film festival on the island. The only film festival, I think.
There's a couple here, but mine's definitely the longest running and the biggest one. So it's called the Evolution Mallorca International Film Festival. And it's coming up at the end of October for the 14th edition. And I always like to say that in our 5th year, journalists called us the Mediterranean Sundance. So I think that just nails the description of it. Like, we support new talent, independent filmmakers, and we've really built a really great community on the island for filmmakers, producers, directors, actors, writers. We have a screenwriting lab. So we do a lot of good things here for filmmakers.
Now, what took you back to Mallorca?
That's a really good question. Well, I founded the festival 14 years ago, so I actually have been organizing it while living in Los Angeles and having my work and career in LA. But with the writer's strike and all the stuff that's been happening there and work being less and less, the festival on the other side growing and really thriving, my husband and I decided to come here full time. He's a cinematographer. He goes back to the States more often to shoot. And then I think one of the main reasons also is a very personal reason that our daughter had to start school, and we decided to not enroll her in an American school. We wanted her to grow up here in Europe. So.
Okay, good. All right. So let's first start with the consulting for film festivals, even though the main thing I want to talk about is for filmmakers, because that's most of the audience is filmmakers, obviously. So would you consult with, say, somebody wants to start a festival and you would help them figure out how to do that?
Yes, exactly. So the whole process, I mean, starting a film festival is sort of like starting your own company and sure that whoever wants to do it has a vision, has an idea. But when we start something that big, we tend to be kind of blinded towards smaller things that are really important, which is location. And is there another festival or event that's similar to yours? And what is the budget plan? And where are we going to get the budget from? Do we really need all the things that are on the budget in the first couple of years? So because I've run my own festival and built it for the last 14 years, I have all these insights and I've made all the mistakes, trust me. So I'm just going to help people not make them anymore and kind of move past them and get better faster.
Okay, now there are lots and lots of film festivals now. I mean, if you go onto Film Freeway,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's got to be, I don't know, 10, 12, 14. I mean, with the film writing contests and all this kind of stuff, there's probably
Right.
12,000 festivals. Does the world, first of all, need more festivals? And how many of those are, I hate to say it, but I'm going to ask you anyways. I don't believe they're all real. I think a lot of them are just people trying to pretend that they're going to start a festival. Most of them are online. They don't even have an actual venue. They don't screen films live. So can you just speak to that for a second? Not that I'm against online screening, because I'm not, but
For sure, no, and it's a valid question, and that's a question my filmmakers that my clients ask me all the time because they get so overwhelmed by this number. So Film Freeway, you were right, has around 12 to 13,000 events. I call it events listed. And the first thing I ask people or tell people to do when they go on Film Freeway is to make sure they click the button where it says active events. So that like kind of crosses out about nearly like 7,000. So you're like sort of halving the number at that point. So this means that are events that are actually active, that are happening year after year, that have a track record. In that list, also first-time festivals will come in because they're trying to make something happen. But that's the first thing. And then, of course, the research. So the research, which takes a long time, and that's where I help them with, and I do it for them with my knowledge that I've had and I've sort of built up after so many years. I've been traveling to festivals for over 11 years, still do it, not that much anymore, but it's been really one of the main things of my work. And that's where you really find out what festivals really take it serious and who are there to maybe just make a buck and pretend to do there are these things that are just like competitions where you can kind of pay to submit to best short, best feature, best actor. And then if you get to like a finalist list, then you even can pay to get your award. And then you have to pay to go to the dinner. I mean, those things are ridiculous. But also they exist because filmmakers support it and filmmakers do attend those, which is not good, but it's like feeding the monster a little bit.
okay, I might be a bit too cynical. I've been in the business for a long time. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a professor. I'm a consultant. So I've been maybe seen too much. All right. So what I'm about to say may sound a little bit cynical to you, but I need to say it for the listeners to hear it. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally believe that half of these festivals should not even exist, maybe more than half. These are businesses of people, like you say, just trying to make a buck. They're not really supporting indie filmmaking or filmmaking at all. The business model to me seems to be in number one, the submission price. So
yes, you're right.
you go online, you have a festival that doesn't really even exist. It doesn't even have a venue. It's just an online portal. So, and you charge submission fees. Let's say it's $50 and you can get, I don't know, 1,000 people submit. So, it's $50,000 in submission fees for really doing nothing other than just registering it. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's some fees and costs for Film Freeway and whatever. Then when it comes to the actual festival, there is no festival. It's an online thing that really, you don't really
it's
need.
terrible. You're absolutely right.
And there's no viewership. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no
And there's no
viewership.
point to it. There's no community to it. It's really pointless. I mean, those were great during COVID. Like, I hate talking about COVID, but you mentioned it first.
I have,
Um,
as we sit here, I have
and
COVID.
I hope you feel better, of course.
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's just crazy.
But during that time, it was great to have this online possibility and the online community, but we're over that. We passed that. And we want to be back in person. We want to be back in a theater, not even if it's in a cinema, but even an outdoor cinema, whatever it is, but it has to be a true movie going experience where these movies are being shown and screened. So that's part of my job to gear filmmakers away from those pitfalls, which are just going to make them very unhappy and just a waste of money.
So how many festivals do you think are online that don't even exist? They're not even a real festival physically, of the 12,000, let's say. Could you say half?
Probably a third, maybe a little less than a third. I mean, there's also a lot of very small festivals, right? And with small, I don't mean, and this is also that filmmakers get wrong sometimes, doesn't mean years. There can be a 25-year-old festival. That's pretty small because it just always kept a very niche look to it, an image to it, and their goal was never to get bigger and grow. So doesn't mean that that festival is bad for your film. If you get into a smaller festival like that, you can be the greatest filmmaker at that festival. So that's also something I tell my clients always. Don't discard the smaller festivals. They can do great things for your film. Not everybody's going to get into Sundance and Tribeca. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, so you're being a big fish in a smaller pond, which I
Mm-hmm.
agree with. All right, I've always described film festivals as the celebration of films, as opposed to film markets, which is the business of films.
Mm-hmm.
So filmmakers really go to film festivals to share their films. It might be the first and only time that a film gets screened actually on a big screen. And that's why these online festivals don't do it for me. But, in a regular theater, it might be the first and only time you can watch a film being viewed on a big screen and in front of an audience for the first time, like a non-family and friend audience. And hopefully you do a Q&A and you get some feedback. It's exciting and thrilling to do that and to get some feedback, and hobnob with other filmmakers. That would be the reason that I tell filmmakers to go to festivals. Also, hopefully, to maybe get some accolades. People tell you your film is great. Maybe win an award if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the drawback, because I have been to a lot of festivals too, Sandra, maybe too many. And this is why I'm about to say this. And lately more so, I'm going to these festivals, and even though there's a lot of filmmakers registered, there aren't a heck of a lot of people sitting in the screenings. Like, I was at a pretty substantial film festival a couple of months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the screenings, they had screening rooms for 200-300 people. There were screenings that were, 10, 12 people there, either during the day or in the evening. Are people actually watching the movies?
So I want to go back to what you said in the beginning, that there's either film festivals are about celebrating films, and then there's film markets. So I think that more and more we're moving towards where it's sort of the same thing, where it has to be a combination of the two. One cannot exist without the other anymore to be attractive for filmmakers. So right now, what we have done at Evolution, for example, 4 years ago, we started a cinematography focus. Around 7 or 8 years ago, so pretty much in the beginning stages, we started the industry program, the Producers Club, and that is what people get drawn to. That's why they submit, a lot of them, because they want to see, okay, I have made a short, or I have made a feature, and it will be screening at a festival, but what else that project is done. They're coming to celebrate that project, but what about my next project, my next script? Who can they talk to at that event that will get the ball rolling for their next project? And that's what you actually want to provide for them. That's the difficult thing also. I mean, anybody, in parenthesis, not everybody, but it's easy to rent a cinema and put a movie in it. Of course, like you said, there's not a lot of people in it, and it's really hard. I'm getting to that in a little bit. But that's the important thing, is to create community and to create a market. Because what really is a market? Okay, if we say market, maybe think of the Berlinale that has a market. We think of AFM as a market. But all it is people meeting and talking about new projects. That's all a market is. So you can do that at smaller indie festivals. And that's what we do. We have screenplay sessions. pitch sessions where indie filmmakers can meet producers and can meet filmmakers. So that's a really important part of the festival. And then about filling seats, that's a hard one. That really is. It has become harder and harder to get people to get up from their couch, get into their car, drive to the cinema or take public transportation, whatever, how they will get there, but actually do that and go through that process and then buy the cinema ticket, go inside and watch the movie. It's been harder and harder. So for film festivals, it might be a little bit more easier at this point because when they have a movie that really has something that is attractive, which is an actor there, the director there, if they're known, many festivals, and I do the same thing, we give awards to directors. We've had Danny DeVito, Oscar winner Melissa Leo, Mads Mikkelsen. We need these names to attract the audience. It doesn't work just with the new movie from so-and-so. It doesn't work anymore. And because there's so many festivals, there's just such a big haze to get through. It's not, even though we have social media, and we probably are going to talk about that in a little bit, to promote your event, it's still, there's so many events that people have to flip through and decide where they're going to go.
Okay, so let's just do away with the bigger festivals because they're a whole different beast, like Sundance and Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto.
They don't have that problem.
Okay, exactly. So let's just put those off to the side. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm going to submit to Sundance. I'm going to submit to Toronto," and I say, "Yeah, that's like winning the lottery." And even if you do get accepted, chances that your films are going to screen in the right slot and you got to spend a fortune to promote it and all this kind of stuff. So I don't really want to waste time talking about the big ones. I always tell filmmakers they should submit to the big ones because why not? Give it a shot.
Sure.
But we're going to have to talk about navigating sort of the timing on the premieres and all this kind of stuff. All right. So let's talk about sort of the mid-sized ones and the smaller ones. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's tricky to bring audiences to those festivals, trickier now, more so than ever. And I've been going to festivals for decades. I hate to say it. And in the early days, the smaller festivals would draw crowds and people would go to the screenings. Today, they're drawing filmmaker submissions, but I just don't think they're drawing audience who are watching the films. Now, as you said, the reason that I tell filmmakers to submit to festivals is threefold. Number one is to celebrate your film. Mm-hmm. Number two is to talk about your next project that you just said. But there's number three, a lot of them believe that maybe they will find a distributor there and get distribution for their. Okay, so tell me about that. Are filmmakers not going to find distributors? Talk about that.
I mean, it depends what festival you go to. I mean, we just said in the beginning, there's over, let's say 3,500 good festivals on Film Freeway that can do something for you. But not all of them are going to have distributors at the festival. Distributors, they go only to the big festivals. And if there's a distributor who's interested in indie films, then they're also very genre-based. They do horror or they do faith-based movies. So if you get to go into one of those categories, then you have a chance. But if you're just a pure indie comedy, it's very hard for a Netflix or something like that to be at a festival is very difficult. It just is. But how you get to those, what I think is that there's always an assistant of the distributor or the development person at Netflix has an assistant, and that assistant is probably a filmmaker who made a music video who is that weekend at that festival that you're at. That's where you will meet these people that you would never, filmmakers don't think like that. So you meet the assistant of the development person at Netflix because they made a short or they made a music video because they're a filmmaker at heart themselves. So then you meet them and then you start that relationship. Oh, I did that feature. It's all about relationships. That's all it is. Every business is like that. Filmmaking is no other.
Yeah, it's about, and we call it networking. But these relationships, this networking, like the example you just gave, the assistant of the Netflix, acquisitions person or something, when they go to a festival as a filmmaker, I think they're actually instructed not to use their job at Netflix. They have to
They don't say it right away, but you have to make friends with people, and then you don't know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, but that's super hit and miss. All right. Maybe you get lucky. We're not saying that at every festival you're going to meet an assistant from Netflix or Hulu or. But
it also really depends on what festivals you go to. There's great little festivals that partners with distributions. A very good festival that I'm friends with in Italy, they just partner with Mubi, for example, that is a distributor. So you just really have to do your research. And that's where I come in as well, where I'm like, well, if I know, I just put one of my clients, they're now premiering at Not Film Festival. That's the festival I was referring to in Italy. They're just going to happen in the next week or two. And they just partner with Mubi, and great. Now they have a chance to meet Mubi, and maybe there will be some sort of business deal they're going to make. But that's where you need to know festivals and what they're doing. And you need to know these little things before the festival happens.
Okay, so let's get, first of all, Mubi is MUBI. It's a streaming platform. You should check it out. All right, it's a SVOD streaming platform. Okay, so let's switch gears now. That was a good segue into, how does a filmmaker navigate the festival circuit? You assist people for figuring out, number one, which festivals to submit to based on the size and the genre and all this kind of stuff of their film. And two, sort of the order, because submitting and accepting festivals has to be just exactly right, because certain festivals require premieres. Like, let's say the big festivals require world premiere. Other festivals might require a country premiere or a regional premiere or something like that. So everybody has to figure that out. So why don't you walk us through, I'm not asking you to do a consulting call right now, but just sort of what things you hold the hands of filmmakers to figure out.
Well, the first thing that I do, obviously, is I watch the movie, and I do a list of festivals where I think that they would be screening at.
You okay?
Yeah, so then you have to go through all the festivals. But a lot of them, it's kind of a little bit of a myth, I think, that everybody wants a world premiere. Like, even Sundance doesn't need a world premiere. Those festivals have noticed that they can't really ask for that anymore. Some do, but most of them don't anymore. But it will say that on their Film Freeway. Correct.
Like, you go on the Film Freeway sort of profile of each festival, it says sort of what they're looking for. And a lot of them might say it's, a US premiere, a California premiere, New York premiere, even a city, a San Francisco premiere. They say that. So you're saying that they don't really care about that?
I'm not saying they don't care about it, but I don't think it's set in stone if it says that on their website.
Okay. Now, with all these festival choices, if filmmakers listening to this and they've been on Film Freeway, and by the way, Film Freeway, is it the only sort of clearinghouse for festivals? I know it's a great site where you can go on and navigate and, put your profile in and then submit to all these festivals. It makes it very easy. And some festivals you can only submit through Film Freeway. Are there any competitors to Film Freeway yet?
It's definitely the best right now and most user-friendly site. But for example, for Europe, there's also Fest Home, which is a really good one to look at.
Okay. What about in the United States? Are there any others right now?
I would focus on Film Freeway.
Okay. Because I've had guests on who don't like Film Freeway. I mean, for the most part, I think Film Freeway is a good platform.
Why don't they like it?
I don't know. I think I'm not sure. They had various reasons, but I don't want to focus on that yet. What I want to focus on is you go on there and up pops, say, 5,000 festivals. After you put your filters in, you don't want online festivals. You just want real festivals that have maybe been in existence for, say, 3+ years, and say just in the United States. So I put in just America, just 3+ years, just, nothing online. I'm going to get 3,000 festivals. How do I choose?
Well, you choose what I do. I do a lot of personal questions to my clients. I ask them, what was your intention of making the film? Then we very much really get down. What is the movie about? Are there any backstories? Are there any themes or topics? So, for example, LGBTQ, women filmmakers, stories where there's female leads. There's even movies with animals in them, or stories focusing on animals. There is a festival for every type of story. So really looking what kind of stories are in your movie, not only the main one, but even like side stories that are happening. Are children the main leads in your film? Is this a children's story? So there's literally festivals for everything. And then you look what festivals are looking for. And then you submit your topic and your story to the festival that is looking for exactly that. The second thing I ask my clients, which is a fun question, is where do you want to go to? Where do you want to travel to? Because when you go to these festivals, you're going to spend money. So where are you willing to spend your money on? Do you want to go to Greece? Okay, let's find you festivals in Greece that are looking for exactly your movie. You want to go to Spain? Great. Let's look for festivals in Spain that are looking for your type of film. So those are, for example, two things that I talk to my clients about. And then there's also time frame. Like, I love to come in as a consultant at the beginning. Like, just book me right when you just finish shooting your movie. So I can even be there for the edit and really help you get it tight and cut out these extra, 10 minutes that you really don't need. I mean, those are other things. But the sooner I come in, the better I can target festivals earlier. But also many clients, they hire me when they've done their first round of submissions and they're like, oh, we've submitted to 20 or 30 festivals and we haven't heard back and we're very frustrated. Can you help us? Of course, then I can help you too. And then the first thing I will analyze is, why did you not get into all of these? So they understand the process. And then we ask questions. I mean, it's all about literally asking questions, finding themes, finding topics, and the fun part of traveling, of course.
I agree with the traveling part, because if you're going to get accepted to a festival, chances are you want to go to it to be there. However, if you don't go, does that does that taint your chance? If they say to you, a lot of the questionnaire on the festival submission is, are you going to come or who's going to come? Is it the director or the lead actor?
I asked that at my festival.
Yeah. And so would that be helpful if the filmmaker says they're willing to attend? That probably is a plus in accepting the film.
Yes, it's a plus. It's not a deciding factor, but it's a plus. But then once you get accepted, it is a deciding factor in when your film will screen.
Okay, so you get a better screening time because the Q&A people. Okay, all right. I'm going to ask you a question now. You're not only a festival consultant, but you are a festival operator.
I'm the only one. That's because there's a lot of festival consultants, but I'm the only one who runs her own festival. So which
gives you a lot of insight into the truth about festivals. So the question I'm going to ask you is going to be a little controversial right now, and you don't have to answer it. All right. But as a filmmaker, I've submitted to literally, I have 9 films. I've submitted to hundreds of festivals. Hundreds, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you get these sort of auto replies back from when you get rejected. It's basically, oh, we loved your film. It was really great, but unfortunately we don't have enough space for all the films, which, is understandable. But then I do a little math in my head and I say, okay, this festival, I'm going to say probably got 5,000 submissions, and each film is, say, just to make the math easy, 2 hours. So that's 10,000 hours of viewing. How many people does it take to watch 10,000 hours of viewing? The question is, do the films actually get watched? Do they get watched for 10 minutes? Does the whole film get watched? Do they scan through the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes? I mean, do films actually get watched when they're being submitted?
That's a great question. And I can only talk from my festival.
Okay, fair enough.
And I say with truth that every submission gets watched at my festival. And that is really important to me because I'm a filmmaker myself. So I know how that feels. And I know that nowadays filmmakers, they have these paid Vimeo links where they can see how much of your film was watched at what time, which is crazy because when I watch a feature, for example, I pause it. I go to the bathroom, I pause it. I have to put my child to sleep, whatever. So they just get obsessed with, oh, the movie got stopped. You didn't watch it all the way. So first of all, stop that, filmmaker. Don't worry. My thing when I answer this question is I want filmmakers to understand that we are on your side. We need your films to make our festival. So the sheer fact that filmmakers are so scared that we don't watch their movie is a little bit nuts to me because we need to find good films to make our program, to make a festival. So we have to watch your movies.
But let's say that you watch the first 10 minutes of the movie and it just doesn't do it for you. I mean, there's just nothing there.
So what we do at Evolution is, we have 9 programmers that start, we open January, we go until August 8th. We just close submissions. So that's 8 months. And we have 9 programmers that view plus 2 volunteers who come on sporadically. So there's around 11 people watching movies. And we have features, shorts, everything. Every submission gets watched by 2 people. And that's really important to me because one may have that vision of the movie and was affected in one way and say, oh my God, this is not good. And the other one would maybe can see something in it and say, but wait, I really like the style of the cinematography and the shot. And we have a section about cinematography. Let's review it again. And we have a point system and a flag system. And so that's how we work. I know a lot of other festivals that I work with, that I collaborate with, also do the same thing. And we are very respectful to filmmakers. Now, let me say this as well. If there is a feature film or a short film where you can really directly see that this is an amateur production, and this is not a filmmaker, a professional filmmaker. And with professional filmmaker, I don't mean you work for MGM or Paramount.
Yeah, you made a professional looking film.
You made you know what you're doing, sort of a thing, right?
It's well lit, the sound is good,
like
the acting is good.
The basics are there.
Right.
So if I see that the basics are not there, and it's someone who's trying or having fun, and that's great. I appreciate that. Go and do your art, but I can tell that that's not right for my festival. So then I might, after a certain point, usually we always watch the first third of whatever it is. But then, if we see that this is really not in line of the quality of where we feel like we can charge an entry ticket. That's another thought that we have when we program. Would I pay money to watch this? Can I ask for people to pay money to watch this? And if after the first 15 or 20 minutes of a film that's not, my answer is no, then my answer is no.
Yeah. No, you have to be credible. Like you said, you're charging people.
That's rare, but that is an occasion where it happens. But that truly is for, like I said, for amateur filmmakers that are doing a fun friends production. I don't know.
I would imagine that happens a lot.
It does happen a lot. It happens a lot.
I say statistically 50% of films that get made, indie films that get made, don't get made properly. Like the production value is unwatchable. They're either not
and
shot
that's a
properly.
really good word, unwatchable. Yes.
Yeah. So then there's the watchable films, and the question is which ones are entertaining. But watchable speaks to the production quality, and entertaining speaks to the story and the acting. Okay, so fair enough. Like, I don't think that's unfair. If you're right. If the production quality is not watchable, then why would you even put it in front of an audience and charge them?
You can't.
Yeah, you're not credible as a film festival.
You're not ready yet, and then I usually tell them, you're just not ready yet. And I've had actually filmmakers who keep submitting to my festival for years and years, and doing shorts, and we have a new talent section. And I understand that you're not like, a seasoned filmmaker yet, but I would keep telling her, this is not up to par yet. The quality is not good enough yet. And then last year she did make a good little short, and I did take it. So, people and filmmakers have to be persistent and work at their craft and get better, because at the end of the day, I'm not only charging for a ticket for people to view your film, but I'm also putting a lot of sweat and tears and work into your movie, where I make a marketing campaign for my festival, for your film, for people to come watch it. I do a social media campaign. Like, there's a lot of work that's going to go into your movie once it's selected. So it has to be at the quality that I want to present in my festival.
Now, on that note, like you said, social media, we'll talk about it. So let's say a film gets selected to a festival. Mm-hmm. What should the filmmaker do in order to get the best experience, to promote their film, to get a good screening, maybe win an award? What would you expect the filmmaker to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first of all, read the emails that the festival sends you. It might sound crazy, but it really, a lot of people don't do it. And send your materials on time. I don't think there's any reason this shouldn't happen, but it happens all the time. And I think it's a thing because, you submit, let's say my submissions are open from January to August. People submit in April, then they get a notification now, end of August, beginning of September. They haven't thought about my festival in months. So now I'm there nagging them about, send me the DCP, send me the subtitles, send me this. And they might be on vacation somewhere, but truly, I don't really care if you're on vacation. I'm trying to build a big event here, incorporate your creative masterpiece that you have created with probably sweat and tears as well. So I don't care where on the globe you are at this moment, you have to have access to your Dropbox, to your WeTransfer, to your files, and there needs to be a link ready with all your materials in them, your screenshots, your bio, your photos, everything. Your movie with hopefully the subtitles that are needed, Spanish, English, whatever it is. And it just needs to be ready. And that's something where filmmakers are truly struggling, and I have no patience for it. So this is also something that I go through with my clients, and I have them be ready, because this is the second you get selected to a festival, it's sort of entering a relationship. And I mean a relationship, like a marriage sort of a thing for the next 2 months, right? Leading up to the festival, during the festival, and post-festival. You need to be ready for that. This is something serious. Like, there's people putting energy and thought and work into this. So we expect you to do the same. So if the festival, if we feel like you're not doing that, then maybe we're not giving that back in the same, like, you get back what you put in. It truly is like that.
Okay, so what you're talking about is what I call delivery. So filmmakers, love focusing on making their films, getting the final, print or the final cut of it. But then when it comes time to deliver the movie, there's a lot more involved.
Yeah.
Like you just mentioned, a couple of things, like you want a DCP or a hard drive or whatever the case may be. You're going to want, maybe some tracks, like some different language tracks.
Even just simple things like your poster, like have the damn poster ready.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I'm still waiting for my designer. And like, no, like.
Right. So a lot of filmmakers do struggle with delivery, and distributors can help with that. So do you deal mostly with distributors on behalf of filmmakers, or you deal directly with filmmakers?
It's very different, and it depends on the level of the film. So if it's a film that will be out in cinemas, like for example, my festival's at the end of October, I usually have films that are independent films that will be distributed in cinemas, let's say by A24 or Sony or whoever has a new movie coming out. So then I deal with them if it's like a bigger film. But for smaller films, I deal directly with the producers because they don't have Spanish distribution yet if it's like an American independent film.
Right. And now, do they ask you that when you're dealing with, say, a filmmaker directly, are they also, in addition to asking about your festival and getting into it, are they asking you about distribution?
Yeah, they ask me if there's distributors at my festival, and then I have a list of the distributors that have visited my festival in the last couple of years. And then the second our industry program is up, I say, listen, the distributors who are coming this year are listed now on the website. And then when they are at the festival, we also make connections, because you never know who's bringing someone, or, oh, this guy is here now, or this guy isn't here now. And then we make connections. That's why it's so important to be there in person, because those things and those connections, the networking that you mentioned, it happens in person when you're having the beer after the screening at the local bar. That's when those things happen.
Correct. I do agree with that. You also mentioned that you're making the festival into more of a not just a viewership experience, but say, I'm going to call it a business experience, where filmmakers, there's seminars, they're learning different components, maybe some finance, tax credits, maybe, international distribution, things like that. So just talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah. So this year it's going to be a big part of the festival, because we have several different areas in the industry program. We have the cinematography focus that focuses on the art and craft of cinematography. We just signed Sony on as a sponsor, which is a huge deal for us. We're super excited about that. We have some big name cinematographers that I can't reveal yet that are coming to the festival this year. They're doing master classes, panels. We have media there, like British cinematographer Cameron Light. So this is great for cinematographers, but also for producers, for directors who just want to get more into the theme and the topic. We have a women in leadership panel that is really great. It's not only for women, but it's for everyone to learn more about women in leadership positions, how they got there, how they stay there, how they make it happen. We have a lot of producers on there, distributors on these panels. Then we have our co-production panel, which is always very popular. We always choose different countries that are looking for co-production. And then we have a script lab. So we have a screenplay competition, and we have around 30 finalists in 3 different categories. And they get invited to come to Mallorca. They get a festival pass for the festival. And then 3 screenplay doctors read all the scripts, and then they have 15-minute pitch, like 15-minute feedback sessions. And I cannot tell you how excited these screenplay writers, script writers are that they're getting attention,
Oh
because
yeah.
these poor writers are sitting
Yep.
in their home with their computers or in a cafe for years writing the script, begging for people to read it. And we started the screenplay competition 3 years ago, and it's unbelievable that how many writers come to the island to be part of this lab. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I
And
find the festivals I go to, the most popular event always is the pitch session or the
mhm,
the competition session, whatever that is,
yeah,
and then all these learning seminars. I go to a lot of markets, like the American Film Market. It's great to network and hobnob with the
yeah,
distributors, but the seminars are packed. That's because filmmakers want to learn, and they want to
yeah. We have
hopefully
a great
network.
AI session this year too with Largo AI. So Largo AI is a platform where you can sort of upload your script and get it all analyzed. There's different levels. And we have the CEO, Sammy Arper, who's coming to the festival, and he's doing a panel on it with different people talking about AI in positive, negative ways. We need a little bit of controversy there. So that's going to be really exciting. And with that, we have an AI like short film competition where a filmmaker in the last 3 months has made a short film with a certain budget, and then the same was input into AI to make a short film about the same theme, the same
Right. Story. Yep.
story and everything. And then we're going to screen both of them after one another and then analyze them. So that's going to be fun as well.
That's cool. That's cool. So you think that festivals should offer, I mean, I think festivals that don't offer that kind of educational experience are missing out.
Oh, I mean, you're just going to be behind. It's not going to go away. So we better get on the train and ride it, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Now, last question. Your consulting services, just how much should a filmmaker expect to pay for that type of thing? And sort of what are the different levels?
Sure. So I have two different levels plus an add-on if you want a book that I actually do your submissions, like my team submits your film. But my other packages, I have a quick consulting package, which is between 500 and 700, where I analyze your film, I do a festival list for you. We do sort of a quick social media marketing strategy, and we have a 1 hour call. And then the bigger package is around 1,500 to 1,600, and that's where we have two 1 hour calls, and we go more into depth. We do a longer festival list, and also we do a whole month-long social media campaign, content creation for you, what to do pre-festival, during festival, post-festival, all the things that you need to do, how to talk to festivals, how to get your film seen, how to approach press in different festivals, because you can't always rely on the festival to do that for you. You have to go out and do it yourself. So we tell them exactly step by step what to do to get coverage. Yeah.
Right. The social media campaign is designed to get the attention of the festival so that you'll get hopefully.
No, I mean, yes and no. It's to get an overall attention for your project.
Right.
But for example, if I am about to choose a movie for my program and they're very similar, let's say the two are very similar, I have to make a decision. I do check that who is the filmmaker, who's the movie that invests into promoting themselves, into marketing themselves. The director, does he market himself? Is the movie online? Does it have an Instagram? Do they have good photos up? Because all these things I will need to use to later promote the movie for the festival. So if I
Right.
see that they're not doing any of that, then I'm already like turned off. Like I will steer towards the one they're actually doing. And it's so easy, guys. Like, come on. Like it's something that we have our phone in our hands anyway all day long. Dedicate 30 minutes to promote your movie, you know?
Yeah. And on average, how many festivals would you suggest that a filmmaker submit to?
Well, that depends on the budget that they have, you know? So if you have more money, then submit to more festivals. But it really is, that's a very individual question. But I think you should submit at least, if you, let's say the ratio would be like you submit to 20, you get into 3 or 4. But then it depends. Maybe you just all of a sudden, explode and festivals start inviting you because you're the new hit or something. You don't know that until you sort of get going.
Right. But is that on average the correct sort of the 3 to 4 festival acceptance based on approximately 20 submissions. Is that about right? Just so people have a perspective.
It depends how well you prepare your list, I would say. If you really target festivals that are perfect for your film, then it will be higher.
Okay, but that's 10 to 15%. Maybe it'll be 20% acceptance. I don't know. But on the flip side, how much money should people put aside for their festival run? Like if you're going to keep some money aside.
It also, again, I think it depends. Are you a feature? Are you short? That makes a big difference because submission fees vary.
Right.
I mean, I think you should at least start with 1,000, at least. And you should put that in the budget before you start making your movie. This is a big mistake that filmmakers do, that they make the movie and then they don't, think about it right in the beginning. Put it in your budget right there. That this is what you need, because then you made a movie, but then nobody will see it. Why? Because you forgot to put that money into your budget. Also put travel into your budget, travel for film festivals. Put it there the day one that you make a budget before shooting.
Yeah. I tell filmmakers that they should, if they're going to make whatever their budget is, this is for features, not necessarily for shorts, that whatever it is, they should raise another 20% for distribution. All right. For marketing and distribution of marketing, to create awareness about the movie, to do the festival thing, to figure out how to navigate the distribution world, to create marketing, which is very painful for a lot of people to do. Let's say you make a $500,000 movie and you have to raise another $100,000 for marketing and festivals and that type of thing. But like you just said, if nobody sees your movie, what's the point? It takes money for people to see the movie.
I mean, I think nowadays if you want to make a feature film, you really need to start right in the beginning. You need to get a good producer on board. Even if it's just if it's an executive producer who puts his name or her name on the project, so you can, move further faster. Those are things you have to think about in the beginning. If you don't have those little gifts that you can later use to promote your film, or that person can put in a good word with someone, then there's no point of spending $500,000 to make a movie, because it's not going to go anywhere. You need to have great people on board first. I'm talking about feature, not a short.
Yeah.
You have to, because otherwise the chances are very, very slim.
Very slim. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't want to stop on a negative note. Make your movie, tell your stories, please.
Okay. So fine. Final words. What's your final advice to filmmakers and, positive, uplifting message?
Yes. So I always say, not every film is for every festival, but there is a festival for every film.
That's a good expression.
So I want you to keep your head up high, filmmakers, and do a lot of research before you click that send button to a submission. And this is another tip. So once you made the submission to a festival, you go on the festival's Instagram, you follow them, you like the last 10 posts, and you write a comment on the last 3 posts tagging your movie, saying, "Oh, I just submitted my film to your festival. Excited to come next year." Or when you should talk about or comment on a picture that shows the festival from the previous edition, and you can say, "Oh, I can't wait to also experience that." Make sure the festival people keep seeing your name, your film's name popping up everywhere. That's just a little tip.
Okay, that's a good one. All right, well, Sandra, thank you so much for sharing all this great insight with filmmakers. I'm sure they appreciate hearing it. And I'll give you the pitch. You can, if you want to reach Sandra, it's called thefestivalkey.com. So the festival, KEYkey.com. That's where you can reach her. She's got a great website. I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your taking the time for Mallorca. And best wishes with your upcoming festival.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Jeff.
Okay, thanks a lot.